Hey, welcome to Geeky Faucets. I'm Amy Dale.
And I'm Christine Lucas-Savage.
And this is episode 36. And today we're going to dive right in with the Brony documentary. Oh, before we do that though, I do have to tell you, I was just telling Christine that I found a good place for geek shirts. They are men's shirts, but Target in the men's section, my Star Trek one and my Star Wars one I was wearing last week are both from the Target men's section. So yeah, pretty awesome. Okay, so Bronies. This documentary is called Bronies, the Extremely Unexpected Adult Fans of My Little Pony. So my understanding of how this documentary came about is that John Delancey, who played Q on the Next Generation Star Trek, he voiced a character in My Little Pony.
Character's name's Discord.
Yeah, he did a bad guy. He was a baddie, and he kind of I guess he set up a separate email account, right, for that, and he kind of forgot about it. Well, he came down. No, he didn't set up a separate.
No, it wasn't. No. He went in to voice the character, and then he forgot about it, and because he got a phone call about it later or something like that. No, he went into something and checked his email, and he had like hundreds.
Yes, that's what it was. He had like hundreds of emails from fans, and he was like, he came to his wife and said, "What do you know about My Little Pony?" And she said, "Well, you voiced a character," and he was like, "Oh yeah," and she said, "And it's a little girl show about ponies," and he was like, "These are not little girls that are writing me letters." Mm-hmm. And so he sort of became fascinated with the Bronies and with the idea that there's these adults, mostly male, huge fans of this show. And so he decided to do a documentary about it. And he kind of put this together, and I think it was maybe originally a Kickstarter project, actually. But I ordered it on Amazon, so if you're interested, you can find it on Amazon. And it is fascinating.
It was I had my reservations about it because it kind of looks like, when you make a show about dudes who like My Little Ponies, you'd think it would be a parody and, making fun of these guys and all this stuff, but it wasn't. Like, I was pleasantly surprised by it. When I first started watching it, I was a little weirded out. I'm like, okay, I'm not so sure about this phenomenon and these kids, and do you know what I mean? Like, I got a weird vibe.
I totally know what you mean. And I think part of it, I have a hard time understanding, is it cultural? It must be cultural. Because the poor guy, there was one kid who was where was he, in Carolinas somewhere? Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of culture almost that I grew up in, where it's like
Southern.
If you are a dude and you, like for instance, okay, my dad never got picked on for this, but my dad is like he could be on Duck Dynasty. You should see him lately too. He's got the beard and his hair is crazy and long. Anyway, he's a wild man. He's like the manliest man. Like, he's the kind of guy that like goes to like change your tire or something and like breaks the head off the thing because he's so strong. He's like the Hulk, big, super manly dude. But like, I've never ever in my life met anybody as gifted at flower arranging as my dad.
Are you serious? I didn't know that.
Weirdest thing.
That's so cool.
Ever.
I love that.
But he's super artistic, and so like flower arranging just makes sense to his brain, and he does it. And I'm like, where did you? Wow, it's amazing. He did the flowers for my wedding. He's really, really, really gifted. Anyway, so it's like that kind of thing, though. He couldn't embrace that in the South and like where we grew up in our culture, and just be like, yeah, I'm going to be a flower arranger, because it would be so frowned upon.
Yeah.
And he would be so teased and made fun of, like, well, what are you,
and this poor guy in North Carolina, like, he's had his car beaten in and bashed in and guns pulled on him.
He spent all this money and got these My Little Pony decals put on his back windshield, and these guys like came and took baseball bats to his car and then threatened him with a gun, and I was like, what? Okay, I understand that you don't get it, that he likes that. I have a hard time getting it because I don't like it, but
you don't need to beat somebody's car in because they like My Little Ponies. That kind of made me really angry, because I'm like, it's just a TV show.
I know.
And the thing about these guys is they're not hurting anybody.
No, and they're really nice.
And they're super nice people.
They're really nice guys. Like, all of the people on here, I was really impressed with. And there was one guy who has Asperger's who lives in England, right? Mm-hmm. And that was my favorite. I loved that part.
Yeah, because My Little Pony was able to get him out of his shell because he doesn't like talking to people. Like, he was doing everything possible to avoid people. But then you see him, he goes to the, the Brony con, and he's like out of his shell, high-fiving people, fist bumping, talking to people. Like,
it was amazing. Like, his mom's talking about him and his life and stuff, and he's talking about it. And he said he decided to go to BronyCon to meet all these people because he'd had a lot of interaction with people online. With Bronies online, and he'd made really good friends, but he hadn't been able in real life to talk to real people. And so he was like, I'm going to go to BronyCon and meet my friends that I've been talking to.
And he did, and it was really cool.
And he had to
like
go to 2 different train stations, and he had to ask somebody for directions, and it was like all this stuff that like totally pushed him out of his comfort zone. But he did it because he was really motivated, and when he was there, he came alive.
Yeah, it was really
cool.
He
was just totally alive.
And the thing about it is everybody there is just so accepting. They don't care. They're like, dude, you like My Little Ponies too? That's awesome. Do you know what I mean?
Way more men than women there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But they just kept talking about how all the My Little Ponies, like the shows, they have such good lessons and are all about friendship and harmony, which I know you hated that one, but still though, they're all about that and all about just being and doing. And they had this one story of, I think it was a little boy who was in the hospital or something like that.
Yeah, like a brain tumor.
A brain tumor, who liked My Little Pony, and he got all this mail from Bronies all around the world.
And they raised money for him and just supporting him.
Good on you, mate, whatever, and just
supporting him
through what he's going through, which is so cool. I mean, and,
it's a really good community. I mean,
it really is.
As far as, and it's weird too because it's not like when you watch the video, I think you expect to see like all those like super socially awkward, slightly scary people that you hope you don't have to have too much interaction with in a day. That's a horrible thing to say.
I mean, there are those kinds of people.
There are those. But when you look in the crowd, there's a ton of like just good-looking young guys that
who just like My Little Pony
look like they could be in your whatever.
And the other thing I was wondering too, before I first watched this, I'm like, I wonder how many of these dudes are just like, yeah, I'm gonna jump with My Little Pony bandwagon because it's so weird that it's awesome, and they're kind of trying too hard, kind of thing, like.
They did say that there were a lot of hipsters, which
like hipsters. That's what I was looking for. So the My Little Pony hipsters are kind of trying to be different by being weird but trying too hard kind of a thing. So there are those, and I thought that's what the whole thing was about. But there are people who genuinely love it.
Yeah.
And towards the end, I'm like, you know what? I love so many weird things.
I know, right?
That I would love to meet a whole community of people who do all the weird things that I do and accept me for me. And I'm like, if they like My Little Pony, fine.
Whatever.
If that's what you like, that I don't care because it's sweet. It's a sweet show. There's no violence in it. One kid was saying how there's was it the kid? What doesn't matter, but there's no violence in it, and it's just all friendly and people being nice to each other. And there's not a whole lot of that going around. People being nice because boy shows are all about like let's fight. It's all fight. Which is great, but it's also, I just think it's okay.
I know, and the voice actors are really great, and there's some interviews on there with them, and there's some interviews with the creator, Lauren Faust, is that how you spell his name? And it's interesting because she talks about as a kid, how she played with My Little Ponies and created these worlds, and I was like, oh, I used to do that too.
Well, the other thing I really love too, aside of it that I was not aware of, is all the art that comes out of these. Because I wonder if My Little Pony is like an artistic outlet, because these guys probably have all these ideas for art, but they're like, I don't know what to do, and but they see My Little Pony. Like there's this one kid who, he lives in Israel, and he's like a super popular like music writer, and people follow him, and something Tombstone, I can't remember.
Living Tombstone?
The Living Tombstone. And he makes this amazing music, remixes of the songs on the show, and people love it, and he gets to express himself through music, and it's not sad, like scary music. I mean, it's fun and happy. It's like, it's almost like getting out of a sad, awful reality. Do you know what I mean?
It's an
like
escape.
An escape, because there's so much crap going on, but the My Little Ponies are always just so happy. And I don't know, I just like that. I just think it's really cool.
And as well as music, I mean, like they have a guy that made a laser show,
that's pretty cool.
And then they have like all this art. I mean, my daughter produces so much My Little Pony art. I mean, she's a really good artist, and that's what she spends a lot of her time on.
Right. And how can you draw a My Little Pony and not be happy afterwards?
Yeah.
Like, they're always smiley and cute and wonderful, and
Right.
I don't know. I love My Little Pony.
Yeah, I don't. But that's okay. I'm glad people do. And I tried. I really did. I mean, I don't hate it as much as I did because the first time I watched it, I was like, no, people, no. It does have that high pitch. I think that's part of what gets me. Is just the everybody being so high pitched all the time.
Doesn't bother me one little bit.
But and that's maybe why I like boy shows, because there's more boy voices and it's not so
I just love all the
high
bright,
pitch all the time.
but I like all the bright colors, and I just think it's wonderful. But
Yeah, it is, and it's a fun show. And at least, I mean, like, it was just, I would recommend if you can, I don't know if you want to buy it. I don't even know if it's playing online anywhere. But it is worth a watch.
And it'll change your mind, because, you think bronies and you're like, ew, it's so weird. It's really not. I mean, it's just like the, Doctor Who fandom. It's like any fandom anywhere. It's just culturally different.
It is.
Because dudes
And
liking
it's still
girl
taking,
stuff.
I mean, like, and at the end of it, I was like, I'm sorry. I said to the TV, because I'm a little bit crazy, I was like, I'm sorry that I've judged you so harshly. I apologize, because that was not very nice of me. But I still, honestly, it's still a little bit hard for me to understand. Probably if I liked the show, it would be not as hard for me to understand. But since I don't even like the show, I mean, I'm like, it's hard for me to understand why a grown dude would watch it.
I don't understand.
But I love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
I
so
don't
much,
understand.
and it's not designed for me, so.
Part of me still doesn't understand, because the show is made for girls kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And there's a disconnect there for me. But like I said earlier, I mean, they're not hurting anybody. So if they start, hurting people and doing bad things, then I'll start having issues. But I mean, they're just having fun
Brony
and
demolitions.
watching My Little Pony.
So yeah, this this is an interesting documentary to watch, and now you are educated in what a brony is. So now you know, and you can like impress all your friends with like brony knowledge, because your friends would be super impressed with that. And there are brony cons that happen. I don't know where or when.
I don't either.
There was one in England in this, I think, maybe in Germany, and so all over the world. And you can go and find forums if you're really into My Little Pony and this show is like, oh, for you. There's forums online that you can find. My daughter does art for My Little Pony stuff, and she also writes fan fiction, which is a really big deal, where you can go on a forum and write a fan fiction about the characters that you already love, and then other people on the forum can read it and give you feedback, which I think is great for an artist, period, to be able to write something and get immediate feedback about it. It's a really cool growing tool for artists. So if you're interested in doing art and stuff and writing, there's forums, or if you're interested in reading it and giving other people feedback.
And I'm also curious who your favorite ponies are. So we already know mine is Applejack, so I'm just curious
Yours is still Applejack with the new Friendship is Magic.
It's still, she is just so adorable.
Does she not sound a lot like Reba McEntire to you when she talks?
She just sounds...
I thought that's who
she just
was voicing
sounds country to me.
She sounds, when I first heard it, I was like, that's got to be Reba McEntire voicing her, because that's who it sounded like so much to me. But it's not, for the record, because I checked.
Well, I'm curious to know who your favorites are anyway.
Who is mine, I wonder?
I don't know. I know that my favorite comic book writer, Tom Zahler, he draws for My Little Pony and writes for My Little Pony, and his favorite is Twilight Sparkle. That's his favorite one to draw.
Oh.
So.
She has bangs, right?
Twilight Sparkle? I think so. And she's purple.
Yes, she's Tara Strong. Yeah, Anna's is Rainbow Dash. I think mine might be Pinkie Pie, just because if I could sneeze and shoot out confetti, I would totally do that.
Well, let us know what you think, what yours favorites are, because I'm curious. So.
Yes, keep feedback and let us know. We would like to know what you think about. Let us know what you think about the whole brony phenomenon. We would be really interested to hear. So yeah, and we'll see you next time. Have a great week.